Hello and welcome to my channel Excel for Newbies. I am Professor Avesh Bhornia. In the last video, we discussed bar charts in Excel. And in this video, we are going to talk about line charts in Excel. If you wish to follow along, please download the file in the link given below. In this video, we're going to be talking about line charts. Now, what are line charts basically used for, and how is it applicable in the context of visualization? Line charts are used specifically when you are analyzing trends over a period of time. If you look at the first chart in our Excel worksheet today, it is a basic line chart. Basic line charts are created using the same technique by selecting the data that you have to create your chart. Click the Insert tab, and then you can drop down the Insert Line or Area Chart button and click a simple 2D line chart. But since we have it already created, I'm not going to be creating it. Now, what is the use or purpose of creating a line chart? A line chart analyzes your data across or trends across a period of time. So here we are looking at 5 years, 2013, 14, 15, 16 and 17. And we are analyzing 5 different genres of magazines and its sales. So keeping that in mind, you will notice that there is a trend that is being set for a particular genre of magazines. Like if you notice, education kicked off very well and then it immediately dropped after 2014. So it peaked at 2014 and then slowly it kept on decreasing, and then there was an increase, slight increase in 2016. So these are the ways, or this is how you read a line chart. But the use of a typical line chart is not really helpful when you have a lot of lines or when you have a lot of categories that you're looking at. Similarly, when you have a lot of markers, you do not use a line chart with markers. I'm going to be discussing what line chart with markers are just in a minute. But when you talk about categories or legends, you are basically looking at the genres in this case. Similarly, when you talk about data points are the years in this case. So more or less, whatever you analyze in terms of your time series, it could be over a period of months, years, quarters, depending on how your data has been set up in your database or in your data set. So in this case, the lines are overlapping and it becomes sometimes tedious to look at lines. In that case, you create a stacked line chart if you are just looking to analyze the data. So in order to create a stacked line chart, you similarly select your data and then you click the drop down and you have the second option, which is a stacked line chart. You can also create a 100% stacked line chart. I made a mistake here, so let me just change the name to line chart. Let's just put this, okay, it's now we have it right, 100% stacked line chart. Now in this case, you will always have the last line, which is going to be a straight line because it is going to be taking up 100%. Now I cannot recollect of any application for 100% stacked line charts, but yes, you do have relative comparisons for 100% stacked line charts. Now let's move to markers. Markers are going to give you a clear depiction of your data or the points that you are going to be highlighting. So for example, here you have got 5 data points which are corresponding to the years. Now in order to highlight those 5 points on these lines, you can change this to you can change the chart type to a line chart with markers. So when you do that, here you have clearly defined line charts with dots as their markers. You can change the type of markers for each of them as well by right clicking, by selecting any one marker, right clicking the marker and click Format Data Series. So you have the options wherein you can actually change the marker type from this particular tab. You change the marker options and you have built-in marker options. You can change it to maybe an X, and you can increase the size so that it's easier for you to analyze and identify. You can change the fill, or you can keep it as no fill, and you can change the color of the marker as well. So there are various options that you can actually do. So let me just create a blue, a yellow marker, or maybe a blue marker, so these are things that you can do. You can make changes to the axes, you can make changes to the data labels, you can make changes to the markers as well as the titles. You can add data labels if you wish to, but that will clutter your chart too much. So there are certain best practices that you should keep in mind when you're creating your visuals. One of them is you do not clutter your chart too much, so that the viewer or the user of the data visual is unable to understand what is there on the chart. So keep in mind that you should create line charts specifically when you're working with any data that is going to be having any time series, or that has got data pertaining to time. So another important aspect of working with data visualization or any sort of visual is that you should keep in mind, if you are working with line chart with markers, remember, if you have a lot of points on your line chart, in that case you avoid using line chart with markers. Otherwise your data chart will look otherwise your chart will look very cluttered. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos and the content I'm sharing, please subscribe to my channel and do not be a newbie to Excel.